Right, so someone just asked me if I will be buying the new John signature Strat, and the answer to that is actually yes, probably yes, but not the $20,000 custom shop one. I think that one is more meant for like collectors, but for the people who actually plays guitar, I think that the supposed Mexican one that I guess will come within a couple of months is more for us, I guess. And I guess that one isn't 100% confirmed, but it seems really likely. At least that is what I've heard from my favorite John related Instagram gear page, which is JF Gear, and I can really recommend that page. Really good information on there. And yeah, you know, speaking of if I will get the Mexican or not, it's not like I need it, and it's definitely not like a John thing to kind of get a signature Strat in the first place. You know, what we learned from JF Gear, the information on there, the reason the signature Strat happened this time in the first place seemed to be that this time he wasn't actively stopping it from happening. It was like he just let this one slide, it seems like, and that was enough for it to actually happen. So yeah, a more John thing to do, I guess, would be to go to a vintage guitar shop and look for 50s and 60s Strat, but most people don't have the money to do that, including me. So with that in mind, I think the most John thing to do on a budget is to do what I did over a decade ago and to get something like this. This is an American vintage 62 reissue from year 2000, so this is already 24 years old, so it's kind of a reissue that's becoming old again. And the wear on this one is all from my playing. I have earlier videos showing there's no wear here, and there's some dints and dents just from simply using it for over a decade and you know, developing the passion for guitar playing and music and creativity and art and all that. So having this guitar, I definitely, and also have a Partscaster Stratcaster, so I definitely do not need one. But you know, I think it can be a fun thing to get, just to compare and with this one, and you know, what pickups will be in it and what will it sound like, and how it will feel and all that. I guess, you know, we have seen John trying all these different models and prototypes, so it will be kind of interesting to see what, you know, passed the test at least. So from that perspective, it could be interesting, but definitely not needed, but it's definitely a lot of fun. And I'm kind of curious if you think it's worth me getting it. You know, the only reason, or not the only reason, but a big part of it is that I'm planning to get it is that I'm able to get it, you know, tax-free as a business expense from the money that I earn from YouTube and Patreon and all that. And it's not like I'm earning that much, but it's also not like I'm spending too much. I haven't really bought too much since the Falcon, so it adds up over time, you know. So it seems like I will be able to afford that one with that kind of money, and then it kind of feels like an obligation to, a fun obligation to get that guitar and review it and make videos on it and all that. But we'll see, you know, if it seems to be really strangely spec'd or something soft about it, perhaps it won't be worth getting. But yeah, we'll see, and I'm curious what you think in the comments, if it's worth for me to get to create videos on, if that's interesting at all. Maybe it's not even interesting, I don't know. But yeah, you know, other points on the custom shop one, there's some really interesting things there. It's the first thing I would like to address on is the radius, the 7.25 inch radius. That was a real shock to me. You know, from what we've heard from Dave Lee, is that it has been sanded down, so it was originally 7.25 like a vintage guitar usually is from that era, but sanded down to a more flat 9.5 in recent times. But perhaps this seems to be a confirmation that this is not the case. I don't know, because, you know, the relic wear is, you know, it seems to be a replica of what it looks like in its current state, so then it kind of doesn't make sense to not have the same fretboard radius. But also we seem to have really strong kind of information that it actually is a 9.5, but also daily, I guess, have been wrong in the past as well. So yeah, it's all a mystery. And speaking of mysteries, we still don't have a resolution to the pickup mystery, because the pickups seem like really nice quality, you know, from Abbey, which is a legendary pickup binder or pickup builder, or whatever you say. But they do not seem to be like a reproduction of the actual pickups, which supposedly is original pickups that was reinstalled now since you rejoined. But how sure can we be of that when we have this radius thing going on that doesn't seem to be correct? So even though we have this reissue after all these decades of waiting, we still don't really know or have gone to kind of the bottom of this pickup issue thing. And that also kind of makes it interesting to see what they do for the Mexican version of the guitar for the pickups. And other cool features obviously is the hum cancellation system, but again, it kind of doesn't justify the price. It's a $300 thing, and perhaps it could be something that alters the tone, which John didn't have in the past, where the tone, I guess, is the most sought after one. At least it's there, but it's not really something that justifies the price. And you know, speaking of the price, you know, what is the purpose of this custom shop guitar? You know, it's kind of priced like almost like an actual vintage guitar. But to me, I think, you know, when it comes to guitar playing, a lot of the pricing and you know, the kind of what's sought after on the market usually isn't rational. It's more like connected to sentimental values and nostalgia, and all that isn't too rational. So you know, Dave Simpson had talked about this with the wow factor. You know, the guitar perhaps isn't playing that great or whatever, but you know, just because it's a rare guitar, it becomes very expensive and sought after and all that, even though it rationally for actual players doesn't make too much sense. And obviously original Strat from the 50s and 60s is a good example of this, but creating these very limited edition high quality reproductions of legendary guitars like this, obviously that is another way to create new products that kind of have that same kind of sought after wow factor, sentimental value kind of vibe, even though it's a new guitar. And you know, to me, this is kind of more yeah, not really for the players again, but rather for the collectors. And I can appreciate, you know, top quality builders putting in the effort to make these kind of reproductions. It's almost like, to me, it's kind of almost like buying a painting to have, you know, all this reliquary done with such great detail and all that. It's kind of like putting up an expensive painting on the wall, and I mean, that's also a thing. But again, more for collectors, I think, not for players. And I mean, I can see, I can kind of see the purpose of that as well, so I'm not hating on it, but you know, you kind of have to understand what it's for and what the purpose of it is. Otherwise, perhaps you can get frustrated and starting to hate on the whole thing, but I don't really think that's necessary. But yeah, that's my thought on it. I'm kind of curious what you think of it as well. You know, before I bought the Falcon, I kind of asked for advice from you as well. So I kind of do that this time as well. I'm really curious to see what you think on it, if it's worth for me to get with the money that I earn simply from, yeah, just fooling around, doing what I enjoy here on this channel, creating whatever I want really. So yeah, I don't really have too much to add, so hopefully this fulfilled some sort of purpose.